Ready?
Good afternoon, everyone, as it starts to rain. Just on cue. So my name is Michelle O'Neill, and my business is called Cherry Tree Equine. We do horsemanship clinics and lessons all over the countryside, travel and help people with their horses and help them have a better relationship with their horses. This is one of my horses. His name is T, and I'm going to show you this afternoon, I'm going to go through and talk about why does my horse. So we had a little bit of a promotion during the week where we were talking about asking people what they wanted to know. Why does their horse do what it does? So I'm going to go through and talk about some of the things that I see and problems that people have, and talk about why they happen and what you can possibly do to fix them. So something that comes up quite regularly at my clinics is, why is my horse scared of things? Okay, why does my horse want to shy at that flag that's over there? Why does my horse get scared when the ground looks different or someone walks past the arena? So there's a few things going on here with this, and what you need to remember is that your horse is a prey animal. So over hundreds of thousands of years, horses have evolved, and they were originally, they still are, they're animals that live when they live in the wild. They're animals that are eaten by every other animal, okay? So they get eaten by foxes, by wolves and tigers and lions and all that stuff. So, this is why sometimes our horses react to things differently to what we would expect them to react. So how the horse's eye works is actually sees differently to us. So when I look out to all of you guys, I see great definition. I can pick the pattern on the new expensive jumper, okay? I can see all of that detail with my eyes, and it's got to do with where your eyes are located in your head, and the fact that we are the meat eaters, okay? So, in a different lifetime, I would have looked at this animal as steak, okay? So because of that, that means that I see detail. So I need to see detail because I need to be able to look off for my food source and identify it. Whereas what this animal, he does, is he's actually concerned about the fact that he thinks something's going to eat him. Now, even now, after thousands and thousands of years, that is still bred into our horses. So what he sees is, he sees movement. So what T could see now, there's a little dog walking past us here. He sees that, I can see the pattern in that little dog's lead and his collar. T wouldn't see that. What he would see is the movement, okay? So that's what your horse sees. So sometimes if your horse starts to look at something, okay, and they start to be unsure about something, have a look where they're looking. Look what they're looking at. It's because they are seeing things differently to you. So that's the first answer to why does my horse shy. Okay, now remembering that thing going back to they are a prey animal. So something that we take for granted, and I had a little mare that I was competing on, and I was at a little competition, and there was a lineup of wheelie bins, like 20 or 30 wheelie bins waiting to be cleaned up, collected, and this mare just lost it, like literally lost it, ran backwards, panicked. Because to her that looked strange. Okay, to her that was out of the ordinary. That's not what she expected to be there. So she panicked, and of course her response is to flee. Okay, it's why they take fright. What do you do? What do you do if there's something, you're at a competition, you're out in a trail ride? What do you do if there's something that's scary? Okay, well, what you have to do, or what you have to make sure you don't do, is what we're probably all taught years ago, which is to ride them headlong, head first in whatever scares them. Okay, so if I pretend that this post here in front of me is what T is scared of, the absolute worst thing I could do right now is put two legs on, kick, and push him straight toward that. Okay, because his whole body, which is telling him that he needs to flee from, his brain is telling him he needs to flee from whatever is scary. So if I'm sitting on here and I go kick, 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 you need to get to that scary thing, all I'm doing is increasing his wish to run away. because now there's something there that's scaring him and I'm not being particularly friendly either. So, how do we deal with this? If I use this orange top post as my focus point, what do? We work our horses backwards and forwards so that they are looking at it out of one eye at a time. And we let them move, because this is what's going on. I'm meeting his requirement to flee by letting him walk. I'm also meeting his requirement to flee by keeping him at a distance. And you will know it's like there's a magnet and you are being pushed away from that point. So if I'm riding around here and it feels like my horse is being pushed out this way because he's scared, so then if I turn and then let him look out of it from the other eye, see how I'm circling my scary object, but I'm not actually having the argument that says I need to push you in there with all my might. Now he's happy because he feels like he can flee. I'm happy because I have him bent. I have him bent in his direction of travel so that if things were to get really out of control, I need only pull this around here and I have him in a one rein stop and I'm safe. Okay? He can't go anywhere from this point. However, ultimately our goal is to overcome his fear of that. Now there's something unique about a horse which is different to a human, and that's how their brain works. Humans, the two halves of our brain are connected with tissue, and that connection is very strong. A horse is different. So for any of you who have had horsemanship lessons, you will have been told whatever you do on one side, make sure you do on the other. There's a scientific reason for that. It's because when I do something on this side of my horse, this side knows nothing about it. The connective tissue is very weak. So their brains basically operate as two halves. And again, it's to do with the prey animal, them being prey animals over their lifetime. It's to do with the fact that their eyes are set differently to us. We're set as predators with our eyes in the front of our head. They're set as prey animals with the eyes on the side of the head so they can see. So if we then ask our horse to work this side, when I turn him and face the other way, it's a new brain. Okay, his brain's going, oh my God, I've never seen that orange post before. Has anyone ever ridden around an arena to the left for 10 minutes and then changed direction and gone to the right and suddenly the horse shies at something that they weren't shying at before? Yeah, and you're like, what the? That's what it is. It is actually, as far as his brain's concerned, and I'm going to pretend you two look like ghosts for a minute. Okay, if I'm riding around here on a left rein and our two ghosts are in the corner, then I turn around and go the other way, my horse is going to think he's never seen those ghosts before. So you need not get frustrated. Or we all have been. So now here's our thing. We're going to work this horse backwards and forwards, and then what we're going to do is we're going to encourage him to take a step toward the scary thing. Okay, and then I'm going to let him move on. Again, I'm meeting his wish to flee. Now, if this was genuinely scary, this might take 2 minutes, it might take 20, depends on your horse and how scary the object is and how trained he is. But what we ultimately want to be able to do, and you can see I'm getting closer. Now, obviously this horse is not showing the body language of a horse that's scared of something, he just thinks I'm flexing him. But you can see how I'm gradually creeping closer. What would happen if he was genuinely scared and he felt we were getting too close is he would turn and he will suck back like that. Well, all I do is I pull on that inside rein and put him back where I want him to be. So again, let's pretend he's really scared. Turn. Now he's going to suck back, and get over here. I'm just going to pick up on that inside rein and say, no, please come back. Can you see how it's that repetition? It's if I keep telling you that this is okay, if I keep telling you that every time you try to run away, there's just a turn in front of you, eventually, and provided you're calm, very important, remember to breathe, okay? If you forget to breathe, things get a little messy. But eventually he's going to think, well, hang on, I'm going backwards and forwards, she's not worried about this, and I'm getting closer and nothing bad is happening, okay? So we're building his confidence. Now, if you get to a point where your horse really starts to panic, like say we get this close and he really panics and he heads back out here, well, that's okay. just hang out here for a little bit. It's that advance and retreat. And if any student of horsemanship will learn advance and retreat. I've had to retreat a little bit because I advanced a little bit beyond his comfort zone. Okay, he's no longer comfortable with this situation. So we might hang back out here for a little while, and then we might slowly start to work our way back in closer again. Okay. Another really common, and please, while I'm doing this, if anyone has anything in particular that their horse does that's really frustrating, just sing out. I'm happy to answer it. These are just the things that I see in my clinics. These are the things that I see in horses that come to me all the time. Something that I get at a lot of clinics, and please don't think I'm pointing the finger at anyone. I get it with a lot of horses that have done events like show jumping, anything where there's been a lot of speed. Barrel racing would be a good one as well. Camp drafters sometimes. Why does my horse rush? Okay, so, you know, my horse is rushing, okay? This is rushing. I'll make him rush. Okay, I didn't want him to do that, let's say. Let's say I only want him to trot and he's just cantered off. What do I do? Okay, bring him into a small circle. When he relaxes, turn him loose again and let him go. Now, there's a little element here of I dare you to take off. Okay, so this will depend a little on your confidence and how well you know your horse. But what you have to be able to do is actually let your horse make the mistake. I have a very good friend, Ian Francis, and he has a saying, and it is, if you put a horse in a bind and let him work it out for himself, he'll remember it for the rest of his life, okay? What I find, and mothers, okay, I'm not having a go at you because I am one, as mothers, we tend to want to mother our horses. So let's say this horse wants to rush, and what we do is we go steady T, steady T, steady T, steady. Can you see how this is all instantly starting to look really ugly? Okay, steady T, steady T. This is not pretty and he is not happy, and the problem is he's not going to get the lesson because all I'm doing is I'm acting like a crutch. It's a bit like you guys if you have a broken leg and you have crutches, at some point you have to let the crutches go, okay? So it's a bit like that with our horses. At some point we have to let the crutches go. So if I'm riding him around and I only want him to trot, and he then starts to canter, I'm going to pull him into a small circle. When he is calm and relaxed, I don't care if it takes 3 or 4 circles. When he's calm and relaxed like he is now, I'm going to go, okay, off you go. Now, if he was to straight away start rushing again, I just sit down, pick up that inside rein and bring him around. Now, there's a bit of a thought amongst a lot of people and anyone who's done natural horsemanship, and they will say, well, you should pull him into a one-rein stop. There's a reason why when doing this sort of thing, I do not pull them into a one-rein stop. Think about it. This horse, when he woke up this morning, apart from the fact he was here and not at home in his paddock, this horse, when he woke up this morning, he did not say, oh, goody, Michelle's going to ride me in 2 demos today and she's going to pull me around and make me look silly in front of people. Okay? He woke up this morning and went, where's my breakfast? I just want to stand here and eat. And I can tell you, having I bred this horse, all he thinks about is standing around eating, okay? So here's the deal. If my horse is heading off and he rushes, let's say he rushes, and I go, woo, come to a one-rein stop. This horse wants to stand still. I have just rewarded the incorrect behaviour. Okay? Now, I'm a fan of one-rein stops. Please do not think I'm telling you I don't use one-rein stops. I use, and I'll talk more about one-rein stops in a minute. I use one-rein stops all the time. But the principle of all good horse training is right thing easy, wrong thing difficult. So right now, trotting along like this is the right thing. That's what I want my horse to do. If he then does this is not what I want him to do. So if I pull him into this one-rein stop and go, don't do that, he just went, oh, beauty, I cantered off and I got to stop. Yes, it is uncomfortable for him to have his head pulled around and all that sort of thing, but the lesson will not be as concise. If I let him go on like this, he takes off when I don't want him to, and then I pull him into a one-rein stop and I keep him trotting, because that's what I want him to do. See, there's the right thing. He's doing the right thing. So I go, off you go. Okay? He canters off. I pull him into a one-rein stop. He's like, oh, if he's got any brains at all, what he will do is he will go, oh, every time I canter, and it's not asked for, I have to do a small circle. That's hard work. Your horses would, in their perfect world, they get to stand under a tree and they grass all day. In the perfect world where they got worked, what they would do is they would just meander along, walk. They'd meander along like this in a straight line. Okay? So anytime we work a horse in a circle, around a corner, do a change of direction in a small circle, do a figure of 8, anything like that, that's hard work. Okay? That's harder than what they would like to do. So we're asking them to do more. Right thing easy, wrong thing difficult. Whenever my horse is doing the right thing, I will leave him alone. When he's doing the wrong thing, I will find a way to make him work a little harder so he goes back to the right thing. A few of you with kids, it's the same with kids, isn't it? When they're being good, you let them go. When they're being wild, or like my little 4-year-old, just feral, I make his life a little difficult for him. You know, it might be... Actually, I can tell an honest story. He was being really naughty the other day at the dining table, and he wouldn't sit down and just eat dinner, and he was jumping around and carrying on. So I said, okay, if you won't sit on your chair properly, you have to stand up. And he had to stand... I took his chair away. I'll get reported here in a minute, but it'll be okay. I took his chair away and he had to stand up and eat his dinner. Do you know what happened at breakfast time the next day? He sat there like the perfect little angel, because he just worked out that if he didn't do what I wanted him to do, I was going to make his life a little difficult. I didn't have to yell at him. I didn't get angry. I actually giggled quietly. But you know, horse training, Warwick Schiller, I've known Warwick Schiller for a long time. Some of you will know Warwick. And Warwick used the same principles to train his son as he uses to train horses. And his son has turned out a lovely boy. So there might be some hope for me. But, okay, so talking about one-rein stops. Something else I get a lot at my clinics. I get, why doesn't my horse stop? Okay, why when I'm riding along and I go woo, doesn't my horse just stop? Okay, and if I do that, if I go along and I go woo and hang on, come around, why does my horse when I sit down and ask for a stop, why does he turn into a giraffe and stick his head up in the air? Okay. Well, what did you do? Are you guys noticing there's a bit of a pattern here? Every time I'm saying, why does my horse, what I'm actually saying is, what did you do to make your horse do this? Okay? So it's a bit like, you know, I bred this horse, I've trained him, I started him. Pretty much anything I have ever done, Jen, that'll be feeding in the video. That'll feed through. Anything I have ever done will, anything that is wrong with this horse is my mistake, okay? I have no problem with admitting that. I'll be the first to put my hand up and go, I broke him. If he's broken, I broke him. So, stopping. Why does my horse run through the stop, not stop? Why does my horse pull on the reins when he stops? Why is my horse not listening? What have you done? So, what I see a lot of people do is when they sit down to stop, okay, they kind of go, oh, I'll stop now, and they don't really, hang on, I'll do it again. They don't really cue their horse to do what they want. So they go woo, 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 and they wonder why nothing's happening. Well, you know what? Do something about it. So, when I teach my horses to stop, this is how I teach them to stop. When they're babies, I will trot them along, I will go woo, and if they don't stop, guess what? I pull them into a one-rein stop. Why do I pull them into a one-rein stop? Because anytime we pull on a horse with 2 reins, we create resistance. So, and I have to pick my hands up with him to show you, but if I peel on my 2 reins, can you guys see how he's kind of got his head out and up? Okay? But I don't want that. That doesn't help me. okay? I don't want resistance in my horse. I want my horses soft and supple and able to listen to what I do. So if I teach them my voice cues and my leg cues, then I don't care what event you do, you can then use this. Now, I did dressage till I was 23, okay? So I know you're not meant to talk to your horses. But I cannot see why you could not teach your horses this at home, and then when you do a dressage test, go and have it so well established that this is not a problem. So, all my young horses, I will trot them along. And then I will go woo, and I will pull them into a one-run stop. Now, you guys might have noticed, to demonstrate how to not stop on this horse is a little difficult, because every time I sit down and say the W word, this critter hits the skids. This is because this is how he was taught, okay? So, if I then canter him around like this, he won't be caught. I canter him around like this, and then I sit down. Now, repetition, 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 okay? The more you repeat the exact same manoeuvres over and over again, the better response you will have. So if one day I sit down, take my legs off and say woo, and the next day I sit down and pull with one rein, and the next day I lean forward, and the next day I flap my arms and yell hallelujah, I'm going to get a different response because I'm not being consistent in my horse training. Remember I said before, anything that is wrong with your horse, you are going to have created. Some people don't like to hear that information, okay? And I do apologise if you don't like it. But, as I said, I breed and train all my own horses. I know I've stuffed plenty up, okay? I've got, some of my horses have some idiosyncrasies that are my creation. So, I have this thing. Every time I sit down and ask my horse to stop, I sit, I take my legs off, and I will pull him into a one-range stop to start with, okay? So it's that simple. Sit, one-range stop. Sit, take legs off, and bring them into a one-range stop. And use your voice. The W word is an amazing word, okay? It is an amazing word. If I go whoa and do nothing else, this horse is looking to bury his butt in the ground. Now, for all of, and again, I don't like to pick on my gender, but for all of us ladies, we have a really bad habit. And I have been responsible for it too. We go out there, we get on our horses, we love them, we look after them so well, you know, we feed them, we do all that, we rug them. So we go out to our arena and we sit on our horses and we trot around. Stop it. We trot around and we do 2 circles and we go, I'm going to stop. Now that critter has just been eating grass for the last 23 hours. You've got him rugged to the eyeballs. Up here, you'd be like at my place. In winter, he's probably wearing 3 rugs. You know, you're feeding the best Mitavite feed, I hope. And, you know, your horse feels fantastic. So you're doing all this, and you trot your 2 circles and go, whoa. Your horse is going, I've just warmed up. I want to keep going. So a very wise man once gave me some advice. He said, if you want to teach your horse to stop, go out and lope, and I'm not joking, this is what he said. He said, go out and lope 20 or 30 circles, okay? Now, you don't have to be haranguing on your horse in that time. You can be doing stuff. You could be working on pushing him in and out on the circle, or you could be doing a square. Like, this is all stuff I do every day, okay? Canter him in a square. Get him going and do a heap of work on him, and then when he's, and you could, some of you might be able to hear him going around. He's starting to puff a little bit. He's starting to puff a little bit. Now's when he's going to think about stopping, okay? So, you know, it's, again, what have you done that you could do better, okay? A lot of what I teach goes back to groundwork, and we're obviously not going to do groundwork today, but a lot of what I teach does have to go to groundwork, and I need to just add that. You know, if you can get a lot of your foundation set on the ground, that will help you when you come under saddle. And I'm not talking about spending your life groundworking. Please, I love riding my horses. You won't get me spending all day on the ground. But groundwork has its place and it's important, okay? So make sure you use it. Something I see a lot at clinics, I see horses going on a circle. This is the case for every discipline. Okay, I can't pick on any discipline unless I'm doing a circle to the right, and your horse will have its head stuck to the left, okay? Now, any of you, if you've ever known anything about biomechanics and that sort of stuff, this is not a good way for my horse to travel, and he's pounding a lot of weight down on his inside leg. And my friend Jennifer Daly, who's been doing equine massage sessions and who's with me on my stand, she will talk to you about that all day. So I'm going to basically wear my horse out quicker, and I don't look pretty. Like, I know he looks kind of nice, because if you want to be technical, he's actually doing a reverse arc, and he's trained to do that. But we don't want to do this all the time. When I am travelling, and if I was in a dressage test or doing a show jump course, there's nothing worse. Those of you who've ever done a show jump course, let's say the jump's over here, this panel, and your horse is coming across like this. You know, that's not fun. Okay, I'm too old for that stuff. I kind of like to know my horse is going to go where I want it to go. So if I'm heading into a jump, not that I jump much anymore, but if I'm heading into a jump, I want that horse going straight. I want his mind and body heading where I want to go. If I'm coming into a jump and his head's flexed that way, his mind is over there, his energy through his shoulder is over there. And we need to get over that. Like, chances are, if that's a rail, it's going to be on the ground, or I'm going to have a runoff, or it's just not going to be what I want it to be. So, start on your circle. Does your horse travel? Is he bent in his direction of travel? So you guys can see, as I walk this horse around a circle. Now, if I tighten my circle right up, can you see how he gets more bent? And by bent, I mean from his ears to his tail. Okay, now, Jen's got a fantastic little book on our stand, which is where they've drawn in the skeletons of horses, and it shows you a lot of this stuff. It's really interesting. I recommend you come and have a look at it. She's going to start selling them. So, you know, come and have a look at it, and have a look at how your whole horse is bent. Even though this is going to be bent more, this is still bent. We're still bending him through the spine, because my inside leg is pushing his rib cage out. So, the smaller my circle, the more bend. The bigger my circle, the less bend. On a straight line, I want no bend at all. How do I achieve this? Well, I have an exercise that I call perfect circles. Anyone who's ever been to one of my clinics has nightmares about this. It's the first thing I do under saddle often. And what it is I want you to be able to, and you can go home and try this. Go home and try it. Get a marker in your arena. I don't care if it's a rock, a tyre, a cone, whatever you've got. It can be out in the paddock. I do all this stuff on the trail, so as well. So you have a marker, and bend your horse, use your inside leg, and bend your horse around. Now, see if you can. If you've got a sand arena, it's kind of easy to see. If you haven't, wait till it's a dewy morning and go out. See if you can get a perfect track. Now, that marker should be the dead set centre of your circle, okay? So if your horse is wandering out here and making a bit of an egg, we need to work on our legs, okay? So we need to be bent. Now, here's the thing. How do I bend him? It's like I said before. My inside leg is just here, just behind the girth, pushing his rib cage out. My outside leg is behind the girth, holding his hip underneath him. So, go out and try this. Go out and ride a circle on your horse at home and see if you can get him bent in your direction of travel. If you go out and ride that circle and your horse is going around like this, and you didn't want him to, or if your circle's going like here, and then here, and then here, and then here, sit back and have a think about what you're doing with your body, okay? Sit back and think, am I using enough inside leg? Is my outside leg in the correct position? Am I looking where I am going? Okay? And perfect circle sounds like the easiest thing in the world to do. I have had, in 7 years of running clinics, I have probably only had that many people who have never been to one of my clinics before who can go out and ride perfect circle. Okay? And by perfect, I mean perfect every time. Okay? So, you know, it's really good because it makes you use your legs. Okay?
Sure.
So, next thing. Why does my horse, and I get this a lot of clinics, your horse might be hell-bent on going like home or back to the arena gate. okay, or something like that. You know, you ride those horses, and if I ride with you guys, if you ride those horses and you want to go in a straight line and they're going like this, okay, you see this a lot. Why does my horse not go in a straight line? Why does my horse not go where I want him to go? Well, a lot of that comes back to your horse not quite being attentive enough of what's going on. So I have a little exercise that I use a lot, and I use this with all my breakers, and it's called the guiding exercise. Now, let's say this is my arena, and what I will do, put my horse on a loose rein, and I will dare him to, now you guys can see he's headed this way, because this is where his mate is. So you'll pick him up, turn him, and ride him away. Now you can do this at the walk, you can do this at the trot, you can do it at the canter if you're careful, okay? But walk or trot, you'll achieve exactly the same thing. So this is that same deal of, you know, right thing easy, wrong thing difficult. So the right thing for my horse is to walk in, let's say to that post, walk in a dead straight line and not deviate. If he deviates and goes this way and I go pick up, turn and release, that was just hard work, okay? That corner was harder work than he wished to achieve. So, if I'm heading this way, now he's headed that way. Now I might be running out of arena room here, so I might go this way, okay? Don't be scared to turn them down the fence. So now he should literally walk easy. Can you guys see, can you see how minute, and if I do it properly, see how minute his changes in direction are? Like it need only be, and reiners will call this exercise feeling for the lean. I literally want to feel for him to lean. So if I'm riding across here in a straight line, in the perfect world, when you work on this and you've done a bit of this exercise, what you will feel is, you will not feel this foot step that way, you will feel his ribs and his shoulders lean that way. As soon as you feel that, you will pick up, turn him, and then release him. It's the release is the key. Remember, your horses learn not by pressure, but by release. So, if I'm riding along here, this is my pressure, this is my pressure, this is my release. When I let him go, he's going, oh, I must have done the right thing. Right thing easy, wrong thing difficult, okay? So now watch what's happening here. With no help from me, he's either decided he'd like your dog, or he's decided that every time I turn him, I'm just gonna, like, it's just hard work. So if he goes in a dead straight line, he goes until he meets an object. Now literally, if this fence hadn't been here and you'd been standing there, he should have walked to you and stopped. He should not have stepped around you. He should go straight to you and stop. And that's when you know. The best feeling in the world with this exercise that I can tell you is when you're riding a young horse and you're going in towards an arena fence at 45 degrees. Now you guys all know what most horses will do is they'll go and they'll bounce off. But when they ride in here and they just stop here because I didn't tell him to do anything different, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's when I know I'm actually getting something with my horses where they're listening. You know, and like he's a little alarmed about the bunting. He really doesn't want to be that close to it. But he knows if he moves, I'm going to put him back to work. So he, despite his dislike for that bunting being so close, he would like to stand there. So, but guys, that's just, look, that's just a few of the little things. If there's anything that I haven't covered that you have trouble with or you're interested in, please, we're at stand 63 down the other end. Come and see me. You know, I'm more than happy to help. We will upload the videos from this weekend onto our YouTube channel, so you guys can, if you want to go back over it, you can go back over it. And we'll be back again tomorrow. So thanks for coming and enjoy the rest of the field days.